Hello, everyone. My name is Wanda Kemp, and I am in the process of starting a page of encouragement, support, and motivation. And it's going to be called Voices of Hope. So I want you to be on the lookout for me on Facebook and YouTube. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited about it. I want to thank DK Expressions because they're the ones that's making this all happen for me. Such an amazing media. So, hey, after you check my stuff out, when you see what they're doing, you're gonna want to follow them and check them out as well. So, but just for tonight, um, I just believe anytime you have determination, drive, and a desire, it can take you anywhere. So, and sometimes we can get that from other people's story. So I invited a close friend of mine, 30 years. Her name is Erica Hill. And Eric and I are going to just be talking, and we hope that you just be encouraged and motivated behind her story and the information we'll be providing you. Stay tuned. Last time I seen you well, it wasn't the last time, I'm gonna take that back. But when we had one of these like kind of deep conversations, it was when I was in Alabama at your home and we set up, we laughed, we talked, we cried, we just had us a good time. I say it's good medicine for the soul.
We went deep.
We had some good medicine for the soul. You know what I'm saying? So your story was so encouraging to me, even though I know you personally. I just feel sometimes what other people experience in life, it can motivate others. So that's why I wanted to have you here as my first guest for Voices of Hope, so that we can give some people some hope, some encouragement, some motivation on where you at is not your end. You know what I'm saying? So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Erica? I know a little bit about Erica.
You know a lot about it.
Okay, you ain't got to tell all. But how about you tell the people who Erica is?
Okay, well, before I get into that, I just want to say that I am honored to be on both Voices of Hope. I am so proud of you. I remember when we met, and I don't know if you remember, and that was me coming over to the house, and you had just had your first baby. And so it has been many years that we have known each other. So I am just honored and happy to be sharing this moment with you. And I am sure it's going to go far. It's going to be amazing. Anything that anyone does that they're following their passion is going to be amazing. So I just wanted to say that before I get into me.
Oh, sweetheart.
So a little about me. I'm originally born and raised in Albion, Michigan.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
Home of the Wildcats.
Right, Wildcats. Graduated from Albion Senior High School. Pretty much after that, life got a lot challenging. Shortly after graduation, I was pregnant at 18, had a miscarriage, pregnant at 19, had a daughter at 20, had 2 kids by 21, lived in the projects, food stamps, WIC, all of those things. Was really lost for a long time with just trying to figure everything out. By 24, my daughters were 2 and 3 years old. I just kind of wanted something different. So I pretty much made a decision to move away from my entire support system and relocated to Montgomery, Alabama. And so pretty much it has been a journey. It was one of the scariest things I ever done, but one of the most rewarding things. And I know that we're going to get into a lot of that with this, with Voices of Hope. So I'm not going to spill too much on that part, but, I am glad to be here and be an inspiration and be brave enough to use my voice to share my story and my, not only my trials, but my overcoming of my trials. So yes, I am definitely happy to be here sharing with you.
So you left Michigan, your support system, with 2 young children.
Yes.
And moved away. And how did that work out? Did you just get to Alabama and everything just popped off well? Did you have a plan?
For pop off, well, of course not. Nothing in my life was going well. And I think, when people say, if I move, then everything gets better. Well, no, because a lot of
So this is with you, right?
things are you. So when you move, you're just taking all that stuff with you to
Exactly.
another place. And then I didn't have any support. I didn't have any help. I mean, it seemed like a good idea. I just felt like in Michigan, I was just going in a cycle and nothing I was doing or trying was working. Before I ended up pregnant with my first daughter, I was enrolled and ready to go in the Air Force. I had a date to leave and found out I was pregnant.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Game
Then,
changer.
sorry.
Game changer.
Game changer. I mean, so everything that I was trying to do, nothing was working. Nothing. And so it was just like, what the heck? I'm gonna try this. And I think maybe back then I probably was a little risque, like what the heck? And so the only thing I think I remember was if it doesn't work, I can always go back home. So
That is something I tell people all the time, and even I have to remind myself of that. Albion is going to be here. So if it doesn't work, go try it. My girlfriend Talina, when she wanted to move to Arizona, it was one of the things I told her. I was like, go. If it doesn't work, come back. Albion is going to be here. And she too, she went and just had flourished. So, but tell me a little bit about what did you do when you got to Alabama? What is it? What do you currently do? Just tell me more about your path to how you started and to where you're at now. What is it that, what would you say, um, what was your passion when you got there to do? What was it that you wanted to do when you just jumped up and moved to Alabama out of nowhere?
honestly, I had no idea. I had no plan. The only thing that has kept me going through my entire life, this journey, is always looking at where I am and asking myself, am I happy?
Oh wow.
Do I like where I am? And if the answer is no, then it's time for me to try and do something different to change it. So I never had that 5 year, I could never see past because I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't have a desire to do or be anything. So I just had to keep asking myself when I woke up, if I didn't like what it was, okay, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So, and that's even how I operate today. If I am somewhere that I do not like to be, I am striving to change it. It doesn't matter where I'm going to end up. It just got to be different than where I am right now.
I like that. So that you wouldn't be the person to ask that interview question. Where do you see yourself at in 5 years? That wouldn't work for you, huh?
But in some people, it may work that way. For me, it's almost a positive that I didn't have that because sometimes when you have that vision of where you want to be, you don't have room to navigate and let life lead you where you truly need to be. So you start turning down things and you start saying, oh, well, no, that's not in my path. And so you never know if you're cheating yourself. You never know if you're shortcoming, because this is all you can see. So that's all you're striving for. But what if it's meant for you to have more? What if it's meant for you to do more? But you're limiting yourself because you're stuck in your 5 year or your 3 year, or it got to go like this.
So
It got to
close.
go stuff. Yeah. So I think that is where my advantage has been in this, that I've really kind of let life lead me where I was supposed to be. Because I can tell you where I am now, none of that would have been on a 5 year plan, a 10 year plan, on no plan. So
So tell me, once you were situated in Alabama, where did life take you? Take me on your journey a little bit. What was that journey like? I mean, that was a major challenge, a major pivot. So what became of that journey, and where did that journey? Where has that journey currently land you?
I can tell you, like I said, I was 24 and my daughters were 2 and 3 years old. And that was like the hardest thing I had ever done. It was a little, at first, it was a little unrealistic because my parents had came down here with me and they had stayed for about a couple of weeks. So, it still kind of felt like home.
Right,
And then
right.
when they left, he was like, oh crap,
Reality check.
what the heck had
What
I
are
done?
you
What
doing?
did I do? But now I can tell you, I was a little smart in a couple of things because I flew down in January and I moved in March. So I think that was the only tax refund that I actually did something with that was worth it, without blowing it. So that is what I used to actually move. And in the meantime, from January to March, I was applying for jobs. I was applying for apartments. So as soon as I came down here, I had a job and an apartment.
So no investment, no savings, no job, just your tax money, your two children, and you said, "See ya to Albion."
Well, no, I had a job by the time I moved. I
Okay,
did interviews while I was in Michigan. So
gotcha.
by the time I moved, I did have a job and I did have an apartment, and that was probably it.
Tell me more.
And clueless.
Tell me more because, like you
That's the
said,
part where you're like, I think I know how to. I mean, I had already lived in Jackson. I don't know what made me be like,
right.
go,
That, that
woo.
that's where you can bring your kids back though in 20 minutes. You did the ultimate pivot with that one. But tell me more. I mean, I know more because we've talked so many times. And like I said, your story is just amazing from how you left here and all that you have accomplished since you have been there. And although it has not been an easy test, share with us a little bit of what you actually have done, currently doing, and then I want to touch on some of the struggles with that.
Okay. Well, like I said, when I first moved down here, I had my job, and I think at that point, like I said, with my history and my choices, I was still struggling and just really trying to find me, really trying to find, I knew I was a mom, but at that point, that's all I knew that I was a mom. And at that point, to me, I was like a baby mom. I
Mm,
felt like I had been in those conversations of being stereotyped of, you want to be on welfare, you want to be in these different situations. And I'm like, that's not true. Everyone does not want to live that way. Everyone doesn't want, you're trying to figure it out, and now you're responsible for other people trying to figure it out.
you're saying it's, some people just need that stepping stone to get to where they're going. Everybody don't, because, and I'm the same way. I've had to do state, the food stamps, vendoring when they used to have vendoring and Medicaid, the whole nine. But just like you said, it was a stepping stone. It wasn't anything that I'm like, this is going to be my life. This is going to be what I
Exactly.
do.
This is
It's
not what I want.
not right, this is where I am, but this is not my end by far. So that's what
Right.
I want to hear more
This is
about.
something that has happened. But then people have to realize things that happen, you have a choice on if this is going to take over your life, or is it going to control you, or are you going to control it? Because you always have a choice.
So what was your choice with that?
My choice was this was not going to beat me. Even though now I have stacked more against me because I don't have my support system, what am I going to do? So it's kind of crazy because I think it forced me to start making decisions that I would not have made if I was in Michigan, if I was at home, if I was in my comfort zone. If it really pushed me to make some decisions because it was like, either you're gonna make this work or you're taking your butt back to Michigan.
What was your
So
determination and drive?
my drive was, I remember when we were driving down, and at some point, I had made a promise to myself that I would never go back to Michigan because I failed. If I went back to Michigan, it would be on my own terms.
Okay. You had
And
one of
21
yourself talk.
years, I have not been back to Michigan.
You had one of those self talk. It was like, okay, we got to talk.
Yeah, I made that. I said that and I meant it. And that was my drive behind everything. So when I moved down here, what I think at that point, I think I was still struggling with the baby mama title, and I felt like that's all because all I had was a high school diploma. I had not accomplished anything. I had not done anything except have kids, get pregnant and have babies. So I had went to school in Michigan for about a couple semesters. I went to college, but that was right before I had my first daughter, and I didn't ever go back. So when I moved, I actually enrolled in college. So I moved down in March, and by August, I think either July or August, I was in school. I was in school full time. I
Oh,
was
wow.
going to class from 8 to 12, probably 8 to 1, 8 to 12. And then I was working from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you was determined to make it work. Your drive was there. Your determination was there.
It's almost like once I make up my mind, a failure is just not an option for me. I can't do failing. So it was like once I had made up my mind, that's what I was going to do. And because I wasn't familiar with college and I wasn't comfortable with it, and then I'm a parent, so I couldn't just be like on somebody's campus, for me, I ended up just going to a 2-year because I just kind of wanted to fill it out. I just didn't even know if I was college material.
I interrupt you real quickly, Erica, because you said something that I think could make, a major difference between you and the next person. For you, you said failure wasn't an option. I don't want to go back home. But what about that person that struggles with that? Life happens. So they get something to kind of like knock them off their block a little bit. And instead of feeling like, no, failure is not an option, I still got to keep moving. I still have to do this. How would you encourage that person, or what would you say to a person that was going through a struggle and but you need to keep moving. It's going to benefit you in the end to keep moving. You don't see it now and you don't feel it now. How would you encourage someone with that? Because it seemed like for you, it was already there. It was in you.
It wasn't always, what you tell yourself, and then the reality of making it happen. Right. But see, this is the thing. What I told myself, and the reality was, I was 800 miles away, so that can't be a quick change of mind. I can't just run back home. So it really kind of made me have to stick it out. I'm not in, I wasn't 15 minutes away or 20 minutes away. So it made it a lot harder for me to say, I'm done. And then now I got to call my parents. Then they got to come get me. Then okay, no, okay, no.
I'm not even listening to that. I told you so. I told you that wasn't a good idea.
It's like, what other options do I have? I mean, I'm sure it's something I gotta do. So what I would tell them, usually what helps me in those situations that we never think about, usually you have already been through something before that you didn't think that you would make it through. That you did. So you sometimes have to go back and remind yourself, you know what? I didn't think I was going to make it through XYZ. I didn't think that I was going to overcome XYZ, but I did, but I did, but I did. And then you have to remember, at some point, you have to trust yourself. You have to trust the walk, the journey, everything that you're going through, because I can assure you, you are equipped to go through everything that you are being challenged with. That's why it's like, go through it. If you trust yourself to walk through it, you will get through it. You will.
Okay, so now you got to tell me, what do that look like? Trusting yourself. What do that look like? Because, we all have doubt at times. I mean, that's just our human nature. So we have that doubt sometimes. So what does that look like to you? How would you encourage someone to just trust yourself, trust what you believe in about you, not what someone say you are or what somebody else think that you should be doing?
That looks like growing through what you go through.
I like that.
When you are growing through everything that you are going through, you're building your confidence. You're building who you are
Hey,
as a person. So
oh,
therefore, so
you
therefore, I
want to even look, straighten up my back.
yeah, let's get there. Look, let's get there.
Yeah, don't put
Because
us out.
I can trust myself. I can depend on myself, because now I know me. I know I can do these things because I've grown through the things that I've been through. So I know I can go through this. You have to go through some stuff, but you got to grow through a lot of things to build trust. Just like relationships, just like our relationship, just like friendships, just like everything else. You build trust. You got to build trust with yourself. Sometimes we don't trust ourselves because you haven't grown through. You got to grow through some things to know that you can stand, even in the fire. You can
Mhm.
stand because you have grown.
So
You
you
have to
about
remember, you're not that person you was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because sometimes what happens is we actually physically move forward, but mentally we haven't. So
stuck.
even though we are doing these things and we're showing up and people are looking and they see our exterior, but mentally, we're still back 5 years. We're still back in that struggle. We're still back in that survival. We're still back in doubt, even though, but if you grow, if you mentally grow through, then you're aligned. You can take on anything. And like I said, that's how I ended up in Montgomery. I had no clue, but I trusted that I could. I trusted that I could make it if I wanted to.
So how about you kind of like, since we started off with 5 years, give me like a 5 year, 10 year, just what has happened and gone on with you since
Oh,
you've been there?
let's
Because
see. So
you
I
told us
think
about the children, you told us about, you getting your job, having that stuff lined up before you arrived. So now that you've been there and you've been in Alabama for how long now?
21 years. Look, we're March 18. I moved in March of 20. I moved in March of 2000. 2000. March of 2000. So we are now 21 years.
So give me like a 5 year possibly breakdown of what has happened and what you have done within those 21 years.
Okay, so I think the first pivotal part, what I want people to know is no matter how you start, no matter how many mistakes you think you have made, it is still possible. Like I said, I attempted college before I moved to Alabama. I didn't think it was my thing. Then I came down here where I felt like worst case scenario, without any support, out here by myself. And ain't that crazy? That's when I decided to try it again, you
Sink
know?
or swim. Girlfriend
Yeah.
said, I'm about to swim.
But this is the thing. When I went, you have to really understand your why behind the things that you're doing. Because even when I went to college, it wasn't even for a job, it was for me. I needed to prove something to myself. I needed to feel better about myself. I needed to feel like I could accomplish something outside of just being a baby mom. So
Right.
mine wasn't, I'm going to college because I can get this job or this job. It was really just a self thing for me when I went to college. And so when I did my 2 years and got my associate's degree,
And what did you get that associate's degree in?
I did my associate's degree, graduated cum laude. I got my
Hey,
right, and I was like,
you serious about being
yeah,
top. I'm gonna move forward big time. I
right.
ain't taking baby steps.
Yeah, so I ended up doing accounting and business administration. That's what I got my accounting. I mean, that's what I got my associate's degree in. And for me, it was almost like that was the moment when I was like, I am unstoppable. It was just that little thing that gave me a reality check that I'm not just a baby mama, that I'm not, it just
Oh,
gave
now.
me the power to realize and believe in myself that I can do this. And so after I got my associate's degree, I went back and got my master's degree in accounting. I mean, I'm sorry, my bachelor's degree in accounting.
There
Then I
goes that.
liked it so much. Then I liked it so much, I went and got my master's degree in accounting and financial management.
And you said originally, I didn't think school was for me. Isn't that? Yeah.
I didn't think it was cut out. Well, no one talked about college with me. So I didn't really know, and I didn't know why I would be going. Like I went, but I was like, what am I doing here? Besides knowing I graduated from high school and was supposed to go to college.
Wow.
But I didn't know why I was there. So therefore, that's why I didn't continue, because I didn't know why I was there. But when I moved to Alabama and I went back, I knew why I was there. I had a purpose behind it, so it meant something to me then. So that is one thing I would tell people. Sometimes you may try something and it may not work out. And that doesn't mean that it's not meant for you. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it's a level of where we are in our life. Sometimes we haven't planned. It could be a lot of things or reasons why something doesn't work the first time. But sometimes we'll try something the first time, and when it doesn't work, we throw it to the side thinking it's never meant for us. And that may not actually be the case. Sometimes we're just not ready for that part of our life. So I kind of full circle, I kind of circle back, but I was in a different mindset. I was in a different mental space to do that. So I would definitely tell people, just because you tried something and it didn't work, definitely doesn't mean not to try it again.
You're open to try it again. It might not have been the season. That just might not have been the time. And you might have grew through whatever you were going through at that particular time. So now it's like, okay. And I can honestly say that happened with me. So yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. So
Yes.
that go ahead.
So pretty much after my master's degree, like I said, I started like I said, I kind of just followed. I've done so many different jobs, but for every job I've done, I was growing. I was just taking on knowledge. I mean, I've done anything from, customer service in Myers to, customer service with big blow fans to Delta, reservations, airline reservations to I've done kind of medical billing. I've done a lot of different things. So once I pretty much I left up on my career, of the federal government, which now I'm celebrating 15 years.
Woo, woo. 15 years, that's a long time, girl.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have so many other things under your belt as well. So that's your actual, would it be fair to say, career?
Career. Yeah.
The government, that's your actual career. But I know there's so much more that you do. So yeah, I mean, so with your government job, is that where you took your accounting skill to that particular?
Yes. Before then, I was actually at a bank and I was doing accounting for a couple years, and then I went over to the government.
So I know, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but I
No.
know about paths.
Oh, see.
Yeah, I know
about down the timeline.
Yeah, okay, and I'm excited to get there. So let you walk that out so that we can get there, because I just think that's going to be something beneficial too for people. So it's you have your career, but tell us about some of the other notches you have in your belt and how you came about getting there too as well.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest things, like I said, I remember when I bought my first house. And that was definitely because I never even thought I would own a house, ever thought I would own a house. So that was interesting. And that's where I would say, you definitely kind of have to do some pre-planning, because all I had lived in was apartments, and I moved into this house, and, I was used to not having to worry about water, garbage, nothing. So I don't know, I just kind of threw my stuff into stuff and then had to learn how to swim. You figure out all these things later. But I wouldn't take any of it back. It was all again a part of the plan, and pretty much what I've probably had that house now for 17 years, and just what a little over 7 years ago, I built my own house.
And you went from owning, purchasing a home and then building a home. All of this after just leaving Michigan, you, your toddler, your children, no education. Well, high school, I shouldn't say no education.
Mhm.
High school, thinking college is not for me. And did you save for this home? Because a lot of times I don't think people, and I don't want to go real deep into it because I do want to make sure we get to those notches under your belt. But the importance for people to know the importance of your credit. So you had to have credit, good credit to get
Oh
this.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
did you build that? Was that established when you got there? You said you didn't have a savings when you went because you just took your taxes and you went. So did you accumulate a savings to and just decide I'm gonna buy a house, or did you just like how did you fall into your first home?
My first home, it was a little. Mm, my first home, I kind of decided that I was ready to buy a house before I really understood what buying a house really meant. And um, again, that was another tax refund time. I think I got that one in April of 2005. You know, don't tax. I did do something with my tax refund. So that's what
So,
I used.
and again, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm listening to you. And right now, I mean, it's like people are really just being fortunate enough to be given certain people the stimulus money. So, I mean, this to me is some awesome nuggets that you're giving people. It's not about going out, being able to just give your children everything they want or splurging on the clothes, whatever your little hookup might be for you that you enjoy, but figuring out a way to invest your money that you get something, you have something tangible, you know. And so I'm listening to you and like, wow, you know, that was two different times. Tax money. That's the time people be like, oh, I'm splurging, like, you know, this splurge time, you know. But I like what you're saying, and I'm hoping somebody else catch that. Go ahead,
Yeah.
sweetie.
And that's the reason why I'm pointing that out, because I wasn't somewhere that, I lived less than paycheck to paycheck, to make everything. I had to pay two different babysitters. I had to pay one for me to go to school and one for me to work. So no, money savings wasn't an option at that time. I had to do what I had to do. But tax refund was an opportunity for
Right.
me to, utilize and make a smart move. And another thing that you use the word investment. Now, I didn't know in 2005 when I bought that first house that now it is an investment, because now I'm a landlord. It's an investment property. I still own that house, and now that house is making me money.
Right.
So, and I didn't know that at the time going into it, but yeah. So now, yeah, I mean, investments, good investments.
So you said
Anytime
you
you're spending money, and at some point it can turn around and give you back some money, make you some money.
flip that
There
thing.
you
Legit.
go.
We can't leave that part out. Legitly flip that thing.
Yeah, that.
So
But
when did
that's
you
what I'm
flip?
saying. In some aspects, I didn't have that 5 and 10 year, and I hope talking, I think there's not a straight across the board where people should be like, you have to, in order for. I'm telling you, I went against the grain with a lot of things of how people think, things should happen. And they still happen. And I think they happen better than I could have ever planned them for myself. It's not to say I walked through reckless or, like I said, I was just constantly. And I think sometimes when you're worried about 5 years down the road or whatever, see, I was just really worried about today. And everything I was doing for today was planning, was making things happen for my tomorrow.
With this being Women's Month, for those that didn't know, this is Women's Month. And it hasn't always been, and not saying that what you done was easy. So, because I don't want to take away from your story at all, but it hasn't always been the opportunity for women that there is now. It's like when I look at the things that women, the achievements that women are making, either listening to you, sharing your story, um, it resuscitates me. It gives me life because I've seen where just even looking over our history, just the different things that women have had to go through. We were mostly known for being at home, being that mother, taking care of children, not having the careers. And I'm going way back, our grandparents, that's what they done. The men were the breadwinners and women didn't have the opportunities. And now we're breaking glass ceilings and, it's amazing. So even to hear you say what you have accomplished and just listening to you talk about your determination and your drive, it's like, I don't even think you arrived yet. It's not one of them things where I say, Erica on plateau. Erica's doing what she want to do and she's done. She's comfortable. I think you'll still be looking for the next and the next. So what's my next move? What's my next notch in my belt? Oh, I want to try this. So, and that's what I really want, and it to be a big takeaway for people. And I think you said where you at, that's not your end. So
No, I'm just beginning. I am just I am just starting.
right. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just like,
No, you are no, we are making this happen. I think we all, like we said before, we inspire each other. So I'm feeding off you, you feeding off me. This is what we do.
right. So finish telling me because I want to hear about this house too that you
Yeah,
just
but I think, like I said, you have to grow through what you go through. So everything I was doing, I was growing. I never thought I was going to be a landlord. Actually, I didn't want to be a landlord. And you will get to places where you doubt and question, your next move. Even when you grow through something, I'm like, I am not cut out to be a landlord. I am not trying, but I am glad it's something I experienced. And I'm glad that I did follow through with it because it's one of the best decisions I ever made was to learn that, have that under my belt to do. And as you say, it's not easy. It is not easy. The things that I do is not easy. I think some people, because I make it look easy, is not easy. I have to do a lot of research. I have to teach myself a lot because these are avenues that I don't know anything about. So just because you don't know about it, don't mean you can't walk down. You have to invest in what you want. You have to train yourself. You have to teach yourself. You have to reach out to people that know how to do what you want to do.
hear everybody say Google is people's best friend now. You
That's
better
my
be.
best friend. I am telling you, I have Googled, but it is a lot, even with me being a landlord, and because, a lot of times I have to have maintenance or people come to fix things. And you do kind of have to worry about people trying to get over because you are a woman and thinking that you don't know what you're talking about until they realize I'm smarter than I look. They're
Right.
like, oh,
Don't underestimate me.
she's not just a pretty face. She kind of know what she's talking about.
Right.
Yeah, now that part I do. But it's not sometimes always that I knew. I do a lot of research. So it's kind of like when they start talking, it's like, do that sound right?
Let me check this thing out for myself.
Yeah. I mean, but that is a big thing about me. I'm coming in. I may not know everything, but I'm gonna know something about, and that has helped me a lot maneuver in this with people I have to come and interact with. But another thing, what I think a couple years ago, I am state licensed, life insurance licensed. Um, I had that was nowhere on my agenda to do.
You just fell into it.
I think I'm one of them people because I don't have a plan and someone and I can see how it benefits or how it can work for me and I'm like, why not? just how I ended up down here. And I was like, well, if it don't work, I can always go back to Michigan. I think that's kind of how I am in my life with different things that I dip, and dab in. I'm like, why not? If it can't do anything for me but take me up, or add to me, why not? Why not learn as much as you can? As long as you're here, you should be learning.
And looking for opportunities, because
Yeah.
a lot of times I hear people just be like, oh, it was just an opportunity and I just took it. You never know where an opportunity will just take you. So being prepared, and it's not like you just know, oh, I'm gonna walk into an opportunity today. So like you said, I just tripped into that thing. I just fell into it, and just so happened when that happened, it worked.
It's almost that thing they say, what is it? Be ready so you don't have to get ready. I'm always ready. I be in the back of my head when people be asking me stuff. In my head, I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. And I will sit up there and be like, yes. What? And in my head, I'm like, girl, what is you? I don't know. But I be having to.
But then I'm going home to figure this thing out.
I be saying, okay, Erica, do you know? And still be, I have definitely made it work. And like I said, that's what I'm like growing through, because I'm definitely not who or where I was 21 years ago.
Like I read Michelle Obama's book, and it's been a while, Becoming. And that to me, it was like, okay, I don't have to feel like, because some people feel like, oh, I'm not there yet, or I haven't accomplished this yet. Or I thought, like you said, those deadlines, by this time in my life, I would have this, that, and the other done. And I don't. So they feel like they're not successful, but it's like, who determines your
You
success?
do.
Stop letting other people determine what success look like for you. You know what I'm saying? So I had another question I wanted to ask you, and it was really more so about empowering people. What would you say to empower someone that might be struggling with where they're at now in life, where they're at right now, and they don't feel like, I haven't reached my mark?
Whew. It's so many different things I probably could say, but I think I still have to go back to, you know, you really have to, it just sounds so, but you do have to trust the process, and you have to trust and believe in yourself, and you have to understand that you're equipped to do whatever you want to do. And if you're looking and you don't feel like you are where you need to be, then it's almost time for you to ask yourself why, because I feel like sometimes is where you're saying that you need to be according to you or according to someone else. And the things that you're striving to accomplish, are those things that you really want to do or someone else wants you to
Right.
do? Because a lot of times we're setting ourselves up for failure, because those things that we have on our list to do, that's according to someone else. That's something someone else wants us to do. So you're not going to have the passion. You're not going to have the drive, and you're never going to accomplish it because it's not something you actually want to do anyway.
Do you
So
think sometimes, like, a lot of times, listen, I'm single. I'm a single parent, just like you as a single parent. So a lot of times we step into um and it's not that we don't have a support system, but that independence, that being strong. You hear a lot of, oh, I'm strong, I'm independent, I do this. So do you think sometime that might be a hindrance to females that won't accept, possibly, and I don't even want to say the word help, but assistance, because they feel, oh, I'm strong. I have to do this and I can do this. And yet there comes a time where we all need help. It's okay. And I heard, it was like, I can't remember who it was, but said it's okay not to be okay. So that's what, I think people need to understand sometime when you in a place or you in a situation or in your feelings, if we want to go there, it's okay not to be okay. So would you want to touch
Okay,
on?
not to know. And I think it's actually more of a disadvantage to act like you know what you don't know. And
Mhm.
for so long, we have been left to feel like we have to figure it out. We have to act like we know till we figure it out. And it's costing us a lot, because there is people out there that can help you. There are people that have been where you are. And sometimes it gets to a place where you no longer have to just figure it out or just keep going in cycles doing the same stuff that ain't working, you
Same
know.
as.
Yeah, which goes back to that's the reason why I created my nonprofit organization for single parents, which is people aspiring to have success past. And what I do is I work with single parents on their journey. I sit with them and help them overcome whatever obstacles they're having and making sure that they're not discounting themselves or feel like they have to settle just because of where they are in life, just because we have kids or you have to be on welfare, or you have whatever challenges, you can overcome it. You don't have to be comfortable there. You don't have to be okay with that. You can still have dreams. You can still have goals. You can still accomplish whatever you want in your life, regardless to what obstacles and our choices to have our kids, to bring our kids into this world and raise them doesn't mean that you still can't have that life that you want. So I do that with sharing my story and pretty much walking their journey with them. So they always have someone there that understands where they are and can support them 100% with what they want to do. And I think the biggest thing that sometimes clouds and where people just say, I'm going to figure it out myself, because when they come to pass, I always say, what do you want? Which
You.
is not always what happens in the world is what everybody else wants.
Right.
So when they come to pass, it's all about them. It's all about them, which is almost hard because for so long they have been moving according to everyone else.
Mm-hmm. So paths was developed from your own personal journey, is what it sounds like.
Yes.
So you kind of like paying it forward.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like a mentoring program? Tell me a little bit more.
Being a single parent of two at 21 living in the projects, I was discouraged about my life and where I would end up. But with determination, hard work, and sacrifice, I was able to turn my situation around. My story is common, but unfortunately for a lot of us, we are unable to overcome the situations alone, which is why I created Paths. I'm here to let other people know and show them that in spite of life situations, you can have more, but you have to want it. I didn't go to school for this, and this is not my job. This is my life.
It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And yeah, I think that is a lot of it. It's a lot of education, coaching, mentoring that goes with it. It's pretty much meeting the parent where they are and helping them get where they want to be. Because again, it's too many times that we're acting like we're somewhere that we're not. We shouldn't be. We have to really be real with where we are, because if you're acting like you're over here and you got it together and you really don't, how are you ever going to get where you want to be? Where are you to even get? Where's your starting point?
Yeah, you
So
have to be honest with yourself. If no one else, be honest with yourself. And I think in the world we live in now with social media, it's just people can be whoever they want to be, and that's fine. I mean, if that's what you live for, do you? You know, for some people, um, I think they get lost in that. They truly get lost in that, and but you have to know who you really are. I think in going forward and being that's going to play a big part of your success. You know, who am I, or what
where
is
am
it?
I?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, major. That's like major.
Yeah, and that's a big thing with paths, like when they come in. But I think a big part of what helps them is me sharing my story, so it kind of helps them be comfortable with. Because I can understand, you know, sometimes when you're going to these organizations that's there to help you, people are there because they get paid to be there, you know.
Mhm.
So sometimes there's some judgment, you know. Sometimes there's other things that come with having to humble yourself to go to these places to get assistance. Some of these people that's helping or working, they have no clue what it's like to be in these, you know, at a single parent, you know. And sometimes they feel they can look down on.
Like it's coming out of their pocket. Like, I'm going in my pocket to
Yeah,
give you
it's
cash.
judgment.
You know, most definitely.
Yeah, so PASS was just created to be just a safe haven of no judge. I am not, even where I am now, I am not in a position to judge anybody, nor do I want to, because I will always remember, you know, where I came from. I always remember my walk, my journey. And even now, because I'm continually growing and pushing myself, I'm continually, you know, challenging myself and pushing myself and learning. So anytime you're in a place that you're continually to grow and learn and challenge yourself, you always have room for someone to judge you.
And that is one of the things I can say I admire about you, and I tell you all the time. You never changed. You know, some um, people can just change through their journeys, whether it be their good experiences or their bad experiences, because some experiences cause people to end up bitter, you know, and they harbor that. Some people reach certain goals, and like I teased you when I came and stayed, we never got to the house. I was living on the right wing, right?
you, you remember?
Yeah, I lived on the right wing when I was at the house. I mean, that tell you it's a pretty big home. But I mean, just period, with all your goals and all you've accomplished, you have remained consistent with who you are, your morals, what you are, what you believe in, and now to see that you're even wanting to see other people. And that's what it's about, reaching back and pulling someone forward. So because of your journey, it's like, hey, there's other people out there like me. There's other people that they just need someone to believe in them. They just need someone to show them the way. They just need to be encouraged. They just need to be motivated, because what's in you is in you. You just need someone to help you to pull that out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think of when I think of paths. You know, like you said, it's that safe place, no judgment zone. And if you come with your drive, determination, and desire, we going places. And most of all, you're going places, because this isn't about everybody else. This is about you, not someone else's goals for you or what someone else expect of you. What do you want for you?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And again, if you would have said, Erica, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? None of this would have been, you know, I could barely see what was going to happen tomorrow, let alone five. You know, I just didn't have that type of life. You know, it was just more about my kids and, hey, am I going to be able to pay whatever bills, or am I going, you know, I just didn't have, I just don't ever feel like I was in a place to plan. You know, like I said, I just changed my day to day, and that's what led me to my opportunities.
we're going to be wrapping this up real soon, but I do want to ask, like, because sometimes when there's certain songs or something, and I might just hear a song and just motivate me or be like, oh, yes, I'm feeling that. So is there ever like a song or something that encouraged you during times or a season in your life that you just remember where you was like, a lot of times I would just hit play and just listen to that because it motivated me. Did you have a song or anything like that?
It was never a song. I think I always just the scripture that always, I mean, from the time to now was always all things are possible through Christ that strengthens me. I have a t-shirt that has it on there. That yes, that was my scripture that I always leaned on. I always went to. I always kept it in the back of my head. Like I said, I have my t-shirt depending on what day. I'm like, that's the t-shirt I'm sleeping in. That's how I'm feeling. Or that's the t-shirt I'm going. So yeah, I didn't so much have a song, but that scripture always has been with me.
So that was going to be my other question, as far as your peace of mind when you need to just like download and meditate. What does that look like for Erica?
Whew. That is bath, aromatherapy candles, and music, which is probably going to happen tonight. But it actually helps download me. It helps relax me. It puts me at peace. And that is actually me in my time with God, where I can hear him, because my brain is going so quick and going through the day. I can't hear nothing. It's I don't hear nothing.
So thank you for going there. So your
Where
relationship,
did I go?
your time with God, how important? The facial expression said everything right there.
Girl.
Well, I mean, and everybody live different lifestyles. Because for me, that is my head. So, but it's different.
My head, tail.
My pastor taught us, who's your boss? When you submit, he's boss. That's my boss.
He is everything. He the man of the house.
Oh, you're not single after all, huh?
Yes. He is. Without him. But what's your question?
Just how do you find? Well, you told me about you like to aromatherapy with your bath and everything. So my question is, far as your spiritual life, how has that played a part for you? Because this is personal. So how has that played a part with you in your accomplishments? Is it just that Erica said she can do this? I'm gonna tell you what just jumps out at me. I just know a lot of times when we're talking and you say something and you be like, I don't want to do that. And you like, I said, God said.
Me and him have some real me and my God, we a lot different, because sometimes I'll tell people how me and our conversation goes, and they're like, you said that to God. I said, don't look. God knows my
so real with.
I keep it as real. So if I keep it real with him, I'm gonna keep it real with anybody else. Cause I'm like, look, God, you sure? I don't know now. I mean, I trust you, but I mean, I think you're doing a little too much. Like, why me? Why it can't be? I'm like, why I can't do Wanda? Why I gotta do it? Why
somebody else? Somebody else.
It's some things, and I'm telling you, it can be the simplest thing. And I'm like, Lord, I'm telling you, I can't even think of something when I say, because everyone always says it, but I don't think they do it. I'm telling you, I could go downstairs right now and my washer don't work. I'm like, Lord, fix it. I'd be like, fix it, Lord. I ain't fix it. Girl, I've been went in there. He'll tell me do something, whatever. Why should be work? I kid you not. Car don't work. Lord, I do. Like, I truly give it to him. Not to say now sometimes I don't get overwhelmed and I know when I'm trying to carry and do things myself. But I do. I really talk to him, and I'm in this house by myself. So I swear, in a random, I'd be like, Lord, now you told me to do, so you're gonna have to show me how to do it. And that was a lot with Pass. When he told me about Pass, I was like, I'm not doing that. Nope. Somebody else got to do that. Ain't somebody else doing it? Nope. And let me tell you what he did. He will wake me up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
With Pass.
You don't listen. You don't move when I say move. That's how this gonna work.
Yeah. And it was painful because I'm like, but Lord, I gotta get up and go to work. I gotta go to work. And I would just be right. The one thing I can say, a lot of the things that I am doing because I have grown and I have grown to know how it works with him, that if I really take it to him, it's times at night where I'll just say, Lord, now you told me to do this, so you're going to have to tell me how to do it. Like, I don't sit there and like beat my head against the wall trying to figure it out. I'll say, Lord, you told me to do this. You're going to have to show me how to do it. Now, this is the trick. And now I go to sleep, but he's going to show me how to do it at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And I know that's because any other time when it's my normal day, I'm not going to hear him. You got work, you got so much going on. Even if he was talking to you, you don't hear him. So yes, he wakes me up in the middle of the night and he does answer what I give him. I mean, I hope at some point we can work out the time thing.
It does seem that way because and I used to get up and I would post it on Facebook a lot, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be too often. But he would wake me up, and I would stroll Facebook and I would look for people. Just might say they going through something, and I'm not one of them people that call and say, oh, God told me to. But I read your posts. And I was up. So he would wake me up in the middle of the night just like that so that I could pray for people. That's what I do. When I wake up, I'm up and I'm praying and, just gathering my thoughts and spending that time with him. And it's when it's the quietest. There's no one moving in my house. There's no distractions. Everyone's sleeping. It's peaceful. And I just believe that, okay, now my child can hear me. She's going to hear me clearly. She's not going to doubt if it's me or not. She's going to know it's me because I will feel full, undivided attention. And that's when he gets mine the best. So I kind of like get that, So.
Yeah, but I mean, if you really trust it, and I think that is one of the biggest things I've learned, like, I really give it to him, just like Pat. I had never done a nonprofit organization. Of course, I hadn't done much of anything. I had never never created an organization, had no clue how to do any of it. But he actually walked me through. I can pretty much, I don't even know on one hand, I can't even recall anything that I had to go outside of him to get done. I did all the legal papers. I did everything. And I didn't know, never had done any of it. Because I go to him and say, Lord, now you told me to do this. You're going to have to
tell me how about you guys how to do it.
He knew. And I would sit it down because, and like I said, even though it was something I had never done before, I didn't really struggle with it. Like, it was new. I struggled with my own, but I didn't really struggle with it. It was just like he really laid it out for me when I allowed him to. It was almost like too easy, but I kind of started spazzing myself out because I knew I had not ever done it before. But it was really like laid out for me. So I just kind of went with it because every time I throw it, I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. So if you want me to do this, because I mean, for me, it was like any out would do. Because a lot of times when we're doing something new, soon as something come that we be like, okay, I knew I wasn't meant to do this. I knew that was the devil. I knew that wasn't God. No, sometimes we have to go through things, and it's God, because sometimes we have to know how bad we want it.
Mm.
If it's going to get challenging and you about to go left or you about to throw it in, you know what I'm saying? You're not ready for what's about to come. So not everything that comes against us is the devil. Sometimes you
Amen
got
for
to
that.
make sure, and I got to know, you said you want this. Are you really ready for what it's going to take?
How bad do you want it?
So
Yes.
no, everything ain't the devil.
So as we close out, Erica, would you have something, final a final voice of hope or word of encouragement that you would want to provide by any chance? I like your sign in the back too. But
Oh, I mean that's and I think I've said
it
it a
doesn't say
couple.
believe in you. What does it say? Believe in
Believe in yourself.
you've been all
Yourself.
over tonight.
Yeah, believe in yourself. Well, that's why it's on my. I've said it. I've said it a few times. I would say, don't be afraid to write your own story. It's yours. No one else can write it for you. As much as we try, as much as everyone that loves you tries, no one else can write your story for you. And you're gonna wish that you did. Only you can. It's your journey. No one else can walk it for you. And I just say that because it's probably like, oh, that don't sound. I am the happiest that I have ever been. And that doesn't mean I don't have challenges or struggles or any of that. It just means now I'm in a place where I'm writing my own story. It don't matter what anybody else says. It don't matter what anybody else is, thing. I'm pursuing my passion, my dreams, my goals, and it allows you to really live a fulfilling life. And the other part of that is always make sure you have something to look forward to. Make sure you have something to wake up for that next day. Wake up with something that excites you. That is what's going to keep you going.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me here. You heard it here on Voices of Hope. This is your journey. This is your story. And can nobody tell it better than you. So, Miss Erica Hill, I want to thank you for sharing your journey and your story. And I also want to again thank you for say a special thank you to DK Expressions. I mean, media team, they're amazing. So if you need any type of media work, I'm telling you, hit them up. Erica, I will be in touch with you because this is just something we done tonight. But you know how we do, constantly bouncing ideas and encouragement off of each other. This meant so much to me. I take nothing for granted. I tell people that all the time, and when I say it, it's from my heart. I take nothing for granted. It's so many other things I know you could have been doing instead of taking time to help me fulfill a passion of mine. So I'm thankful that you found it in your heart to take time and do something for me that I asked you to do, and you didn't even just, oh, let me think about it. So I appreciate you, and I look forward because I know your journey is still continuing, just like so many others. So with that being said, be encouraged. Hang around people that give you hope. Hang around people that encourage you, uplift you, motivate you. Watch your company as you walk out your journey and write your story, because it's going to be very important as well. Thank you for joining me, and be looking for me. YouTube, Facebook. Thank you. Good night, beautiful. You look good too, girl. I don't think I even see it.